Hello everybody, it's Bill with Strong Healthy Seniors. Today I'd like to talk to you about glaucoma lifestyle factors. And the reason I want to bring this up is because I have glaucoma, and I have for many years. My personal experience is that I believe that I was first diagnosed in the late 70s, early 80s, but it wasn't taken seriously. And my optician thought I was too young for it. They used to give a little air puff test to your eyes. He said, well, you seem a little high for glaucoma, but you're too young for that. So, well, probably should have took it serious. Let me point out to you to begin this that I'm going to tell you my feelings about it through my journey, which has been going on for some time. Ken, I'm not a doctor. No, I'm not a doctor. But I've had some experience with glaucoma, and I just want to share it with you because it may help somebody. And it's such a terrible disease and can be so concerning and depressing and things that if I can help somebody, I'll just like to try. So like I said, I was probably diagnosed in the early 80s with glaucoma. In the 90s, it became advanced. I had an episode in 1996, an incident where after a day of work where I'd worked, I think 6 days that week, really hard at the factory I worked at. Afterwards, I went to the gym, exercised really hard, played basketball really intensely. And when I came home, in my right eye, my vision went out. I have to admit, I wasn't taking eye drops at the time. You know, wasn't a prescribed eye drops or anything. Just wasn't, But I've been noticing things, migraine headaches and halos around lights and different things going on. So, I incurred substantial vision loss in my right eye on that day. That was I couldn't ever recover. And I remember thinking back then I'd close my left eye, which I had pretty good vision at that time, and it was corrected, but I remember closing my left eye and thinking, if this is all I ever have left, I'll be in big trouble. So we'll get to that point a little later here. But when the eye doctor talked to me then, he let me know that you've got an advanced degree of glaucoma, and we've caught it kind of late, So I really got on, whatever they told me to do, taking eye drops and all. And it was pretty stable for a long time. It was stable for many years. And again, I tried to do everything they'd say, research things, I would read articles, I tried to be healthy, exercise, improve my diet, whatever I could. Again, I always taking my eye drops the way the eye doctor told me, and on a consistent basis. So in 2024, though, I had another incident, and it was probably, it was actually 2019. 2019, let me go back there. 2019, had another incident, and this had been 23 years, since my first incident, but 2019. And looking back, I believe it was because of moving. We were moving then, very hard work. We were redoing our house that we had, we had rented and stuff. So anyway, a lot of hard work, and I believe that it led to some erratic eye pressure readings and some issues I was having with glaucoma. And I ended up having to have surgery, and I lost I had another hit on my vision at that time on my left eye, and it's now quite a bit worse than my right eye. So I'm considered blind, legally blind. And but I was able to keep that stable for several years, and I was proud of that. But in 2024, I started having some more incidents, and it really started getting concerning then because I just didn't have much vision left. And I've got a family to take care of, children, a wife, pets, and myself. And I want to take care of everybody. So it's really, really a priority to me to stay as stable as I can, to maintain what vision I can maintain. And so I started to really research what was going on. So this incident I had was due to the flu and sinus pressure, looking back, because I started to really research what was going on. It's like we did some surgery, but it didn't seem to really be keeping me stable, to be honest. So I ran across an article. Let's see here's the article from, let's see. I was researching about intraocular pressure, and I ran across an article which has been, it's probably the reason I did this video, because there's other articles out there, I'm sure, but I ran across this one when I was looking at about lifestyle factors, just to see. And so I Googled lifestyle factors, and this article came up entitled this. It says, "From Bench to Behavior, the Role of Lifestyle Factors on Intraocular Pressure, Neuroprotection, and Disease Progression in Glaucoma." Sorry, I struggle a little bit to read. Seeing the best I can. But the authors that were cited is Anika Kumar and Yvonne O-U. I don't know if I pronounced that right. But in this article, it was the first time I'd really seen anything being said about the effect of exercise on glaucoma. And I'd always been told exercise is good. I always tell my eye doctors I exercise, and they'd say good. But I don't know if they realized how much I was exercising, because in my youth, I guess people thought I'm like a bodybuilder. I really, I was known as a gym rat, and I went to the gym almost daily, and I really went at it. I'm telling you, like a lot of people. This was when I was younger, 20s, 30s, 40s. I've been working out over 50 years, since I was in my late teens. Really going at it hard as I could, squatting as heavy as I could, bench pressing heavy, everything. Heavy as I could. And so, I'd always been doing this, and I'd done it up until recently, really. I had a home gym here. And so here I am at home, in 2024, seeing how much I could bench press, and I probably should have had a spotter. I had a Smith machine, and I'm strapping weights to my waist and seeing how many chin-ups I can do. Just really, going at it pretty hard. And I was having problems with my vision still, and it's like, looking back, it's almost like duh, because I mean, it's so intense that it was causing me some pressure issues. And so, like this article brought out about the effect of exercise from bench to behavior. I think bench may be talking about bench pressing or exercising, I think maybe. So anyway, it had a lot of information about lifestyle factors. And I started looking up some of these. And I apologize about my lack of knowledge about it, but I just wasn't told. I wasn't told by my doctors, And even now, I have to say that when I bring it up to them about when I'm kind of praised for, like, well, you've been stable for a while. And I bring up, to my doctors that I wasn't ever told about lifestyle factors, and tell them how important I believe they are. The eye drops are important, no doubt. Always do what your doctor says. But I am convinced, personally, that lifestyle factors are a huge part. And, when looking back, I was violating, I think, every lifestyle factor that I saw. So no wonder I was having trouble. It's amazing that I was able to stay as stable as I was. But just in brief, just to say that for, especially maybe because of my age, I'm not really sure. Again, I'm not a doctor, but, intense physical exercise, I believe, is probably not a good idea. That moderate physical activity is beneficial for you. And they'll say that. Moderate physical activity. Please, don't think that I'm saying not to do that. Please, if you're not engaging in moderate physical activity, please consider starting to help your eye pressure and your disease progression. But I believe that the reason exercise is beneficial is because it helps blood flow to your optic nerve. But too much can increase your ocular pressure. So you're trying to increase the blood flow and capillaries and different things, to your optic nerve, to nourish your optic nerve and help it remain healthy. But you don't want to go so far that you're increasing your pressure. So moderate physical activity. And, don't believe I'm going past my, what they call scope of practice here, which, so that's, let's just say that's enough for exercise for now. Just, you just consider moderate physical activity. And I have a podcast here. I have a YouTube channel where I promote moderate physical activity, even easy, beneficial physical activity, which can help many people to introduce or to progress in consistent exercise to help their health and maybe help their glaucoma and different diseases. Well, now, so how about another factor is nutrition. This is a big one. And in researching this, there's a lot of factors like, let me think, antioxidants and different things, different foods effects on your vision, and neuropathy and things like that. There's number 3 would be, say, body position, sleeping or exercising, things like that. When I sleep, I use a wedge pillow. Now, I didn't before. I just slept on a flat bed or flat, pillow. And so keeping your head elevated at night is a good idea because I think your intraocular pressure can go up at night. So it's a good idea to keep your head elevated, learn how to sleep like that. Also, when you're exercising, they suggest not to do yoga positions that have your head lower than your body. And even, say bench pressing, decline bench pressing, or decline abdominal exercises or different things, which I was doing, weighted, ab exercise, all this stuff. And, I could see a difference in my vision. I could tell this is having an effect on me. So keep things in moderation. Sinus pressure was probably the reason that I had the episode, to be honest, in 2024. I had gotten the flu. I woke up in the middle of the night one time. I'm going to go to the restroom, and it's like I couldn't hardly see. And so I called the doctor the next day. We had an emergency visit, and they're kind of vague on what's going on. Just tell me where your pressure is low now. I could see, though, that, and my feeling was that it was sinus pressure. And so just saying that's one of the factors that can... So try to avoid getting sick, and if you have sinus problems, try to use something to alleviate your sinus pressure. I was playing wind instruments is another one, where you can see how if you're really blowing into, wind instrument. I was trying to learn saxophone. I'd played harmonica for years, so I'm doing that. And that's another bad one. Like I told you, I think I violated every lifestyle factor that there is. Excess caffeine. I love coffee. Had espresso machines and indulging in that. I had to back off on that. There is neckties. I wear suits and I wear ties and sometimes tight collars, things like that. They can restrict your blood flow. You want good blood flow to your optic nerve at all times. Tight neckties, loosen that up. Number 8 is one that I think is really big. That was not in the article, but it's something that I've noticed, and I just want to point out is stress. Stressful situations. It could be intense work, intense play. It could be getting in arguments. It could be, just any time that you might be in an extremely stressful situation that could cause maybe elevate your interocular pressure some, then try to avoid that. And in short, just try to be calm. Try to relax. If you get in stressful situations, just try to calm yourself. These are all things that I think are very big to try to help people to avoid elevating their interocular pressure. And I'm going to go over these again just in review. The things I said. One was intense exercise. Try to keep it to a moderate level, moderate physical activity. And nutrition. Pay attention to your nutrition. Eat plenty of vegetables and things with high in antioxidants that nourish your body and keep you healthy and do your very best to maintain healthy eyes. So nutrition, then body position can have a big effect on it. The way sleeping, your pressure could go up at night, or different positions you could have when exercising. Be careful of that. Yoga and decline bench pressing and abdominal exercise. As a matter of fact, about any time that you bend over, lift something heavy, or be careful with that. Lift with your knees try to keep your head up. As much. You might notice that when I do exercises on my channel, I do push-ups. I tend to not do them on the floor much. I'll do elevated push-ups. There's wall push-ups. I'll use a chair or a bench, to keep my head up. I'll do dips for chest work to try to maintain an upright position. I think that's a good thing to try to consider. There is a sinus pressure. Try to avoid getting, flu and things like that. If flu shots give you the flu, you might, I'm not anti-vaccination, but flu shots tend to give me the flu, so, just try to stay healthy. That's to your own discernment about trying to prevent the flu. But if you get sick and you get sinus pressure, just try to take something maybe that doesn't increase your pressure. You see your doctor about it. But something, try to keep your sinus pressure low. Wind instruments, if you're playing saxophone, harmonica, trumpet, whatever, clarinet, you might consider not doing that. That could increase your interocular pressure. Then there's caffeine, excess caffeine. Keep that in moderation. Neckties and tight collars, they could restrict your blood flow to your optic nerve, your head and your optic nerve. And then the last one I mentioned was stress. Try to keep stress down. Just try to be calm. In so many ways, stress can be detrimental to us, so try to keep your stress low. And I believe that's about it for today. Hope this might help some people. At one time I was so bad, I was really trying to learn Braille too, really on that. And, but I've been able to maintain, stable, stability in my vision loss. And I hope I can help you too as well. And so thanks for joining me today on lifestyle factors that affect glaucoma. Hope it helps you. And we'll see you next time on Strong Healthy Seniors. This is Bill. Have a great day.